Anti-Israel protesters stormed the commencement ceremony at the University of Michigan. The campus chaos now moving from encampments where more than 2,100 agitators have been arrested in recent weeks. And at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., a direct message to President Biden. Anti-Israel protesters projecting an image of Biden with the text "Genocide Joe" over an American flag that the university staff unfurled earlier this week. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn is at the university. Matt?
Well, as you know, there's been weeks of unrest and chaos here in New York City. Some of our excellent Fox News reporters have been covering the protests hour by hour. Today, we can safely confirm there's been nothing but peace here at NYU. In fact, NYPD officers have been outnumbering any civilians here in this sectioned off area where the protests were last night. Ultimately, NYPD had to come into this area, dismantle the encampment here and make about upwards of 60 arrests. But headed south, a much different scene today at the University of Virginia. A massive police presence began dismantling an encampment on campus there after more than a week of reported demonstrations and increasing tension at the University of Virginia. Local reports say police did use pepper spray and are seen carrying away at least one person to make arrests. In the upper Midwest at the University of Michigan, a short while ago, earlier today, pro-Palestinian protesters interrupted Michigan's graduation ceremony, chanting anti-war messages and waving the Palestinian flag. No reports of any arrests there.
On this issue, it's disgusting to see what's been happening on these campuses, the defacement of buildings, the destruction of property, the threats against Jewish students. Our focus is on protecting all students. We want all students to be able to study, learn, and get their degrees done.
And here in New York City at the Parsons School of Design yesterday, pro-Palestinian protesters were seen battling with police, fighting to get past a barrier. This week, police shut down illegal encampments at Columbia and also NYU as well. And back live here, no semblance of any demonstrations here, not a piece of trash. I was at the UCLA demonstration earlier this week, or the aftermath of it, and there were literally bulldozers that came in there and took away countless pieces of debris, tents, garbage, and plastic. Both those campuses from LA to New York now cleaned up. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. Great reporting. These protesters could be called micro-intifada, who are being trained in, quote, militancy, according to Barry Weiss's Free Press. Several training manuals are being circulated to the students participating in the encampments on college campuses, including this guide called the De-Arrest Primer. Part of it reads, quote, each de-arrest is a micro-intifada, which can spread and inspire others until we may finally shake off this noxious ruling order altogether. Rawr. Thank God for them. Guy, I think one of the most interesting aspects of all this is once you had police move in and arrest a bunch of people and remove their masks and expose who these people are. And then, of course, we find out that at one university around here, some 60% of those arrested were not even students on campus. Things start to really quiet down after that.
Yeah, when you can arrest the professional dirtbags who show up at all of these events. That's what they are, right? They're just the dregs of society. They come out for the climate or for, you name it. Black Lives Matter. There are certain people who are effectively professional left-wing protesters who are steeped in this stuff. I think you take care of that problem by enforcing the law. I think you take care of the student problem by enforcing harshly sanctions on especially the ringleaders. I think when you have suspensions and expulsions and you prove that they're going to stick, that will be a deterrent to a lot of these hangers-on who don't really know why they're there to begin with. We'll be talking about that throughout the show. Can I just make one other point? I am not one to typically defend Joe Biden, our president, but to see his image projected on our flag with the words Genocide Joe. This is the campus at GW in our nation's capital, where our first president, the statue in his honor, was draped in Palestinian garb, all of these hate slogans. Then an American flag is unfurled almost as a rebuttal. The crowd booed at that and jeered. And now they're projecting this lie. There's no genocide. The Israelis are not committing genocide in Gaza. It is an unbelievably false, disgusting smear. And these people are attaching that word to our current president. It's completely outrageous. And I don't know what he's thinking trying to appease people calling him that.
Yeah.
You're not going to win the Genocide Joe crowd, Joe.
That's a great, sobering point. And of course, I sit back and just look at it and think, you know, you get what you deserve what you get when you do try to appease these people. You know, Bill Bratton, former NYPD Commissioner Tammy, said that the big mistake that they make from the beginning is trying to negotiate with these protesters in the first place. Listen to this.
Those that are negotiating. A mistake that all of them have made, from my perspective, is this idea of when this first began, when that first tent was allowed to be put into the campus area and not taken down. It's the old broken windows theory, which I'm a significant advocate of in policing. You don't take care of the little things, they become very big things. You don't take care of the minor disturbance, the minor violation of the rules, regulations of the school, the minor things that in terms of included in the code of conduct, then if you don't deal with that directly, they become much bigger. And we've clearly seen that in campus after campus after campus. The issue you just raised about at the George Washington University, it's outrageous that that statue of the founding father of this nation is still covered with that.
Incredible.
Outrageous.
And, you know, one of those little things is just making sure that the creeps who are putting up tents on your campus are actually your students, would be one.
Yeah, silly concept, or kind of a low bar there. But this is the problem, and of course Bratton is right. This is permission. When you don't do something about it, it's like with little children. If your little kid keeps doing something like, you know, trying to stab the dog, and you laugh or you don't do anything about it, they're going to continue to try to do that. And you want to impress some kind of morality and what is acceptable. And when you don't, it's not just like, well, it's ambivalence. It is permission. It is kind of a silent acquiescence to do this. And it's not just that it happens to then happen on campuses. This was an organized effort. And there were tests, just like with September 11th. Certain terrorists going on planes to see how a team of flight attendants would react if you did a certain thing, to find out how far you could go. So this is no different. I will note, though, of course, this is the Occupy Democrats, the Occupy Wall Street people, Zuccotti Park, what we've seen there. But I will suggest that, like the image that we hated about the American flag and Joe Biden's face, that now is used everywhere, right? We're talking about it. And yet what's never talked about is how many people were ultimately really protesting. So we'll take the arrest numbers. So about 300. Columbia alone has 33,000 enrolled students. 33,000. And they had, we now know, apparently months for organizing this. And they couldn't even get out enough students. They had to fill it in with people from off the campus. So you're looking at less than 1%. You're going to look at that number repeated across the country with these 40 other campuses. So the real story is they couldn't even organize themselves out of a paper bag. After the O.J. Simpson trial, within a few days, I had 7,000 people on the street in 1994 marching for the LAPD without the internet, without social media. That's what an organizer notices here, that it's not a very good organizing.
Yeah. So in addition to the sort of moral acquiescence that you see on college campuses from college administrators, it's also from Democrats. And Democrats have sort of allowed this to fester by trying to woo these. Listen to what Tulsi Gabbard had to say the other night.
Pete, they're either intellectually incapable of making that argument and waging that counter-ideological warfare against this Islamist ideology, or they're terrified. They're terrified, as Bernie Sanders is pointing out, terrified of losing votes amongst those Hamas apologists, the pro-Hamas mantras that are being chanted. It's a dangerous place to have a leader of our country operating from a position of fear rather than standing strong on our fundamental principles and values of freedom.
So that was on Fox and Friends this morning. But, it's going to be a real problem for Democrats.
I think it is, but I also think that Democrats think this is going to blow over. I think that's why it took President Biden so long to actually address it, because they thought, listen, graduation's coming, summer is coming, this is going to end. I think what's not going to end, even after the encampments are cleaned up and this is disbanded, there's going to be another issue that these young people are going to glom onto. And I don't think it's going to be one that's productive, because oppression to them through all of their schooling has become sexy. Oppression to them has been glamorized. They want so badly to feel oppressed that they're willing to go out there and cosplay like they are Palestinians in some kind of plight. But then simultaneously they demand Uber Eats and lotion with no sunscreen. So these people who want to play oppression don't know what oppression is, but they're going to go from one idea to the next idea to find somewhere to fit in. And the problem is conservatives have not given young people a place to fit in that's normal and sane. And maybe we should do a better job of that.
And if Democrats think this is going to blow over, I think they're kidding themselves, because it's going to blow right into the Windy City for their convention in the thick of the election. So good luck with that.
It's going to be entertaining to watch, without a doubt.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.